is Julia. People say that I am weird because I can never leave an abandoned animal in the street. My parents say I took it from my grandma. She used to bring a new animal home every month. I brought home my first abandoned cat, a gray-colored helpless kitten, when I was 5 years old, and I cried a lot when my parents took it to the rescue organization. It repeated again and again. Cats, dogs, even a turtle. And my parents never agreed to let me have an animal at home. When I was 10, I found the cutest cat in the world. I called it Toby. I begged my parents to adopt it. I promised that I would take care of it and get only excellent marks at school. And, to my surprise and joy, they believed me. I really started to study better and spent all my free time with Toby. I was happy, but soon I found rash all over my body, and my eyes turned red. My dad said I got scabies from my cat. I was furious. He took Toby away and left him on the outskirts of the city. But in the evening, Toby was at home. Dad called a taxi, paid the driver lots of money, and asked to take the cat 40 kilometers away. Dad felt satisfied. But not for long. 2 days later, Toby came home again. Dad took the situation seriously. He took a day off from work and said I would never see my cat again. I began crying, but understood that I could do nothing. However, I convinced my father that I had to at least feed Toby with some delicacies. No one knew what would happen when Toby was left alone. Dad agreed. I gave Toby his favorite food and spent his last hours in our house with him. Early in the morning, my father said he would take Toby very far from our home so that he couldn't find the way to return. He put Toby into a sports bag and left. I cried the whole day, drew Toby's portrait, made a rhyme about it. I told my mother that when I grow up, I would never take pets away from my children. Mom tried to calm me down, promised to buy beautiful dolls and other toys to me, but when it got dark and Dad wasn't home, we began to worry because he left early in the morning. Mom was afraid that something could have happened. His phone was unreachable. At midnight, my mother called the police. In the morning, a few policemen came to talk to us. They asked us to tell in detail what had happened, if he had ever received odd calls, if he had any enemies or another woman he could spend time with. Mom was sure that it was something different. 2 days later, Dad was still missing. My mother and grandmother kept crying and discussing the situation, making guesses. All the versions about his disappearance seemed improbable. Suddenly, we heard someone knocking on the door. We also heard a man growling and a cat meowing. We looked at each other surprised. Mom opened the door and saw my dad. He was dirty, shaggy looking, had scratches on his face and shoelace tied to his wrist and the cat's neck. Toby was fluffing and trying to get rid of the lace. We rushed to my father and tried to give him a hug, but he waved us aside and went into the kitchen. He was very hungry and thirsty, so he took the food out of the fridge and began eating with the fridge door open. The policeman asked him what had happened to him. Dad sighed, sat on the sofa, and told his story. That day, he left home early because he wanted to take Toby as far from the house as possible so that the cat could not find the way home. First, he took the bus to leave the city, then a taxi to the mountains, and then went on foot along a mountain path with Toby in the sports bag. He crossed a river and even wanted to throw the cat into the water, but felt sorry for it. So he went further. He tried to double back so that Toby could not return home. When he reached the rocks, he made a small fortress using stones around the bag with Toby. He thought that it would prevent the cat from finding the way home. When the fortress was ready, Dad moved back. Of course, he could hear the cat meowing. He walked along the path, through the woods, past a large dried tree and turned left. He kept walking for a few miles. Then he heard the cat meowing. It turned out that the path Dad was taking led to the fortress he had built for Toby. He realized that he had taken the wrong turn near the dried tree. So he had some rest and went home. He walked along the path, through the woods, past a large dried tree, and turned right. He kept walking for a few miles, and soon approached to Toby's fortress again. He was surprised. Then he clapped his hands and heard the cat meowing. He understood the cat was still alive. Then he got some rest again, and moved home. He decided to go up the hill and see what way to go. The telephone was off the range. He even licked his finger to find out the wind direction, but then realized how silly this idea was. It was getting late. My father started a fire and laid down to have some sleep. He was hungry and saw himself eating a chicken in his dream. He woke early the next morning, did a few exercises, made an attempt to catch fish in the river, but failed. Then he went into the woods and found a few berries. He tried to find the way home, but each time he returned to Toby's fortress. During the night, he heard wolves howling and got really frightened. He recalled me, his little daughter, and his amazing wife. He climbed a tree and spent the rest of the night there. In the morning, he went down because no wolves were around and decided to kill Toby. He was angry with that cat and believed it was Toby to blame for everything. He took a large stone and dropped it into the bag. At this moment of Dad's story, the policeman said, "It wasn't the best idea. The cat could help you find the way home." Dad said, "Yes, But when I realized that, it was too late. We continued listening to the story. Dad kept telling it. He said he was angry with himself for being so stupid when he heard the cat meowing. The bag seemed to move. My father opened the bag and saw Toby sitting in the corner, just a little way from the place where the stone was. Dad was really happy to see the cat was alive. He couldn't risk letting it go because the cat could run away and leave him alone. So he took a lace from his shoe and put it around Toby's neck, then around his wrist. This way, they both returned home. My father said that Toby came to his life to teach him a lesson. He said that it was silly to kill a cat until you got home. We all looked at him in surprise. Of course, he was kidding. He said he would take Toby to the vet. The policeman closed the case about Dad's disappearance, took a selfie with Toby, and left. This is the amazing story that happened to my father and my cat. Take care of your pets, and maybe they will save your life. Click the like button, leave your comments, and subscribe to our channel.